Good evening to one and all. On behalf of Amity Innovation and Design Center and Institution Innovation Council, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, I, Dr. Nidhi, welcome all the esteemed dignitaries, honorable guests, and our faculty member and our students in 6-week Technology Entrepreneurship Development Program on Organic Farming and Biofuels. It is a pleasure to have with us today Dr. Akhil Swami. Dr. Swami did his engineering from IIT BHU, which is known as IIT, and thereafter he did his MBA from Monariba University of Allahabad. He worked for DCM Group, State University of UP, State Investment Corporation, and DS Group, and he also acted as a director in various companies. And he is now participating in TV debates as an expert of economic affairs. So we welcome you, sir, to present your session on financial management. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you. Thanks a lot. See, because the audience is from the agricultural background, and I do not know as to how much finance is taught to them and how much finance they know. So 50% time I'll be talking on financial management, but in my opinion, having a one-sided deliberation will not be good enough. So I will request the students to start preparing questions as to what they want to know, as to what they want to understand, so that we are on the same wavelength. And whatever queries or questions are there from the students, I will try my level best to answer those questions. So I will give some preliminary idea of the financial management and the importance of financial management in entrepreneurship, whether you talk of organic farming or any agricultural related issue. The basic thing one has to understand that when you are starting an enterprise, what is important? The two factors are there, two indicators are there. One is benefit, one is cost. Because when you start an enterprise, you incur cost. And when you incur a cost, then in subsequent years, you start getting benefits. Suppose you start a project of 1 crore. You invest 1 crore. And then the viability of this particular project where you are investing 1 crore is dependent upon as to what type of cash flows you will get in subsequent years. So the basic issue that has to be understood is that you have to make a business plan. You have to make a techno-economic feasibility report to ensure for yourself as an entrepreneur that as to what you are trying to do through an enterprise ultimately is profitable or not. The project has to be profitable because it's not a social project. Your parents are giving you money in the project, or you are raising money from the friends and relatives, or you are taking loan from the financial institutions or somewhere. Every stakeholder is interested in to understand whether the project will stay viable or not, economically viable or not. Because if it is not economically viable, they will not be able to get results. They will not be able to get returns. And because suppose the public sector banks or the financial institutions are concerned, that is not their money. That is not the money of the manager or the chief manager or the general manager of the bank. It is the money of the public. So the banks are taking money from public as deposits or fixed deposits, and they are disbursing this money to enterprises for starting up the projects, whether agricultural project or industrial project or any type of social project or whatnot. But the basic point is, because suppose a bank has raised money from the market, because any institution can raise money in two ways. Whether you raise money from the promoters as equity, your friends and relatives as equity, or you take money from the financial institution, you borrow money. Like banks are borrowing money through savings bank and current bank accounts. Because I'm opening a savings bank account, I keep money parked in the bank and I'm getting, say, an interest rate of 3%. I'm opening a current account where it's a industrial, say, account, then I'm not getting any interest. And if I'm putting my money in the bank by way of fixed deposits, then I'm getting a return of say 6 or 6.5%. So dependent upon as to what are the sources of finance for the bank. Suppose 50% money is coming from say current accounts, and current account the interest rate is 0. And 50% money is coming say from the fixed deposits, the interest rate is 6%. So the cost of capital, what will be the cost of capital? What will the cost will have to be paid by the bank is 3%, because 0%, 50% on current account where the interest payable is 0, and 6% interest when I'm raising money through fixed deposits. I'm paying 50% raising money through interest rate of 6%. So my cost of capital is 3%. Another bank is, I'm just giving you a utopian sort of a idea, that suppose a bank is raising money 100% from current account where it is not paying any interest. So the cost of capital is 0 because no interest is to be paid. But there has to be a proportion of current account, saving account where they are paying 3% and 6% when they are raising money through fixed deposit. So average cost of capital of every bank will differ. Now this bank, because it has raised money from the public through current account, savings account and fixed deposits, it has the obligation of paying back money to the equity holders also. Suppose government is the equity holder, or there are public issue where the shares are floated in the share market and the share market keeps on going up and going down. So the equity is invested by the shareholders, and they are raising money also from current account, savings account and the fixed deposit. Now the profitability of the bank or the viability of the bank will be dependent upon as to whether it is able to pay back money that it has raised from the market, either through equity or from debt, and then make profits. Because whatever money you have raised from the market, you have to pay interest. You cannot say that I have raised money from the market, say from savings bank or fixed deposit, I am not able to pay you interest, or I cannot mature your fixed deposit. Then there is a issue, there is a problem. So every bank, any financial institution will have a different cost of capital, and every financial institution will have to pay back to its equity holders also, and to the financial institutions from wherever from the money has been raised. So what is the obligation? What is the responsibility of the bank? If you are a banker, what is your responsibility? Your responsibility is that suppose you are getting 100 projects for finance. 100 people are approaching you for getting finance for their projects. What is your responsibility? And you can say give finance only to 20 projects. What you have to do? You have to select the 20 best projects which are technically feasible and economically viable, which are the best and which will be able to generate better cash than the other projects that you are not accepting or you are rejecting. 80 projects you will reject. So you have to have a basis of rejection and you have to have a basis of selection. So what will be the basis of selection? Basis of the selection will be the projects that will be able to generate more cash in future. Fine. So any project, now if you are raising money through your friends and relatives, if you are raising money from public, say public issue, you must have heard about share market as to how the share prices keep on going up and going down, because the companies, these companies which are public listed companies, which are public companies, which are listed companies, have raised money from the public, and these companies are listed in the stock exchanges. And every day there are some buyers, there are some sellers who are buying or selling these shares. And when the buyers demand goes up and the supply is lesser, the share prices go up. When the supply is more and the demand is less, the share prices go down. So who is affected? Who is affected? If a bank is doing well or an enterprise is doing well, who is benefited? The lenders.
Equity hold.
Hello. So if you are a lender, you only have a right to take interest from the financed unit and the principal installment. Suppose you have given a loan of 1 crore and the interest that has to be paid to you is 10 lakhs. You will get 10 lakhs. You cannot say that if the project is doing very well, then I'll get 20 lakhs. If the project is not doing well, I'll get only 5 lakhs. That is not done, because the lenders have a right on the payment first. Any enterprise will have to pay the obligations of the institutions which have lent money to them, or the lenders. And after the obligation of the lenders is taken care of, then the money is distributed among equity holders, shareholders, the promoters. Now I give you an example. Reliance Industry today has a market capitalization of around 12 lakh crores. What is market capitalization? Market capitalization is number of shares multiplied by the market price. So suppose the market price is 2000 rupees and total number of outstanding shares is X, then the market capitalization is 2000 multiplied by X. And what is the net worth of Mukesh Ambani? Mukesh Ambani, suppose, holds 1/3 of the shares of Reliance Industry. So if the total market capitalization is 12 lakh crores and 1/3 is owned by Mukesh Ambani, then the net worth of Mukesh Ambani only by investing and running the company profitable is 4 lakh crores. So what will be your objective if you suppose want to become Dhirubhai Ambani or Mukesh Ambani from today? What is your obligation? What you want to do? What you will try to do? You will start a new company, you will start a small company, and you will select a company which is technically feasible, economically viable, and which you feel that in future years will be able to survive the environmental onslaughts and will stay profitable. And suppose the unit becomes very profitable. Suppose like Infosys. When the promoters of Infosys started, 6 IITians started the project, the chairman of the group, Mr. Narayan Murthy, took a loan of 6,000 rupees from his wife. And his wife says that he has not returned that money. And today the market capitalization of Infosys is around 10 lakh crores. And the net worth of the promoters will be in thousands and lakhs of crores. So what is your interest? You will start and invest only in a project which remains economically viable, and ultimately because you want to grow the project in very big size. When you start a project, you can start with your equity. Your father will give you 1 lakh rupees. Suppose you start a project of 1 lakh. Then you feel that the project has done very well. You want 1 crore. Then you will have to get at least 40 lakhs as equity, because the financial institutions will not give you, say, 80 lakhs loan in a project of 80 lakhs, 1 crore. So you will have to raise 40 lakhs, and for 40 lakhs, you will have to go to your friends and relatives, your other close associates. 40 lakhs you will raise as equity and 60 lakhs you will take as a loan. Suppose the project does very well. Now you want 100 crores. So 100 crores you will raise, need a lot of equity, and your friends and relatives, your parents and yourself don't have that much, but you feel that the project is so good that if money is invested in this project, like Dhirubhai Ambani or Infosys or TCS or SCL, whatever companies are there in the market where the market capitalization is in lakh crores, you will have to raise money through public, through public issue. And what these investors who are investing in the public issue will be interested to understand and know: what is the potential of the project? How much cash flows will you be able to generate? And whether the share prices of the project will go to that level. Because if you are investing, I am suppose investing 1 lakh in a share of a company, and the project does very well, and the share prices are 100 times more, then 1 lakh becomes 1 crore. But if the share prices crash and the project doesn't grow, my 1 lakh can also become zero. So there are stakes involved. And similarly, the financial institution who will be giving, say, in a project of 1 crore, giving a term loan of, say, 60 lakhs, they will have to understand whether your project will be able to generate sufficient cash flows which will be able to repay their interest and principal which they will demand from you. Because if the project does very well, they will not get anything higher. If the project doesn't do well, they will lose money. So whether it is a promoter, whether it is a equity holder, or whether it is a financial institution who is anybody who is putting in money in the project, will like to evaluate and assess whether the project will be able to generate sufficient cash flows so that their interest is protected. Now let us talk about the words you might have heard. And in Amity University, you also have a business incubator. You must have heard about business incubation, angel financiers, venture capitalists, private equity funds. What does it mean? It means that if you have a perfect business idea, and what is a perfect business idea in my eyes? A business idea is good which is technically feasible and economically viable. I don't have to love the idea. I have to understand whether the idea will be able to generate sufficient cash flows. So if I'm an angel financer, or I'm a venture capitalist, or I'm a business incubator, what is the concept of the business incubation? The concept is, suppose you want to start a project. You take an office, you pay rent or buy. You have to keep some computers, you will have to see AC, and you will have need furniture, you will spend money. And because lot of people are there who don't have resources to start a project, 80% people cannot think of starting a project because they don't have resources. But the idea is good. The project will succeed, but they don't have money. So what they should do? Where should they go? So business incubation means, MIT University business incubation means that suppose you have a business idea and you can convince the managers of the business incubation that project idea is so good that today when you are starting a project of and you go to a business incubation center, they will say that we will give you space to operate free of cost for 6 months. First, they will listen your idea. They will try to understand whether your project idea will succeed or not. And if they are convinced that your project idea will succeed, they will give you a place and you will get air conditioned environment, everything free of cost. So you don't have to think that if my project, how to start because I don't have resources. And now if the angel financier, because there are, say, two type of people in the society. One who have lot of money, but they don't know where to invest money. And there are a lot of people who need money for projects. They have a good idea, they have a good project, but they don't have money. So both are looking for each other. Because if I have idle money which I do not know where to invest, and suppose I am getting a interest of, say, 6% in fixed deposit, and suppose I purchase real estate or gold or anything, I get a return of, say, 8%. And if I have the capability and the competence to understand whether project which has come to me as an angel financier or venture capitalist, if I am putting money, suppose the person who is starting a project from a business incubation center needs 5 crores and he doesn't have even 1 lakh. And if I finance 1 crore, and this project becomes very successful and tomorrow becomes something like Reliance Industry, Infosys or SCL, and the share prices go 1,000 times more, then my 1 crore also will become 1,000 crores. So what I'm trying to emphasize is that whenever you are thinking of any project, think of the cost benefit analysis. Think of the cash flows, the cost that you will incur, and that cash flows you will get. And with this project report or a business plan or a techno-economic feasibility report, you will go to equity investors, you will go to lenders, you will go to venture capitalists, angel financier, and everybody, that if you invest money in my project, not only I will become rich, but you will also become rich. So I give you another idea, like a example. It's not restricted only to say project financing or enterprise or industry or this thing. Suppose there is a lot of talent, lot of good singers and excellent singers are there in villages from poor background, poor families, cricketers, athletes, boxers. They have talent, but they don't have resources. So what will happen if somebody doesn't catch hold of them and handhold them? Then their project, their total talent will be lost. And suppose you are a venture capitalist or an angel financier of, say, you want to select talent who are very good singers, and you see in television, there are singing tournaments, there are dancing tournaments, there are different type of tournaments, and people who belong from a very poor family are today wealth creators. So suppose you are an angel financier and you identify a Sachin Tendulkar who is today suppose 7 years old, and you see that this boy has excellent talent. With the permission of the parents, you pick that boy up and get him trained in Mumbai and spend, say, 50 lakhs or 60 lakhs rupees. And tomorrow, suppose he becomes Sachin Tendulkar. He will earn 100 crores, 200 crores, 500 crores. And there is a contract between you and him that 50% will be retained by him and 50% you will get. You will also become a millionaire. So what do I mean? Whether you are talking of production, whether you are talking of marketing, whether you are talking of HR, ultimately, the project selection and the money that you will get either through term loan or from equity is totally dependent upon whether your project is technically feasible and economically viable. So any question any student has, because I want to understand as to how much you have understood and as to what would you like to know and whether it is making sense as to what I'm talking. Anybody?
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, could you please explain about angel investors, like how can we approach to them?
See, the point, you go to business incubation center of MIT. There is an incubation center.
Okay, sir.
And there are people who have the expertise of, say, legal knowledge. They have legal knowledge, they have financial knowledge, they have industry knowledge, and there is a group. So when you submit a project to them, they will find out whether your project is good enough so that they can give you space in the business incubation center and you get a space. Then they are also organizing the meetings and they are inviting angel financier and venture capitalists in the MIT University campus and business incubation. So suppose a angel financier, and what is angel financier? A person who has earned a lot of money, or a venture capitalist. What is the meaning? Meaning is that he has a lot of money, but he doesn't know as to what to do with that money because he cannot keep that money idle. He cannot keep that money in fixed deposits. So he is looking for a project which will be a project of future, which will generate so much of cash that in order, if they finance this product, angel financer or venture capitalists who have a lot of money and want business ideas to nurture, if they finance and put equity in that project, not only a entrepreneur who did not have money and his project would have lost if no financial aid would have come. But if he invests say 1 crore today and first 5 years doesn't make any profit, but after 5 years, suppose the project becomes so profitable because it has taken care of the future events and the future profitability and the environment that is taking place and that environment that is changing, and tomorrow the project gets listed in the public issue and the 10 rupees share prices goes to 1000, this promoter also earns a lot of money and the angel financer and venture capitalist also gets money. So angel financiers and venture capitalists and private equity funds are different grades of people or the financiers or who are putting money in the equity. So first stage you go to seed financial institutions who are giving you equity in very small amount. Then you go to angel financer who are giving you some higher amount. One second. रानी देखो शेखावत आ गया है क्या? रानी So you have to understand, as a entrepreneur, suppose some student wants to start a project of say organic farming. Then you have to make a project report. You have to do a market study. You have to understand as to what is the demand for organic products. Because brand also plays a very is making organic product and you are making an organic product. So the consumer has a confidence which has been created by branding or by business promotion or by advertisements and whatnot, that the things which are made by Hindustan Lever or ITC or Godrej are good quality. But when you start this organic product and you will say that this is organic, people will take time and they will not be assured whether what you are talking is right or not, whether it is. हाँ, अरे रानी बाहर जाओ यार, अरे उधर ये Any other question?
Yes, sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
So suppose we start a venture and we create the whole project report and the angel investors and the equity holders invest in our project. Let's take an example that it's 100 crores. And over the time, as you said, the first 5 years, there may or may not be profit. But there may be some time that we expect profit, but the company is not giving it. Suppose it's 10 years and still the company is going into loss. And so, sir, are we required to reimburse that amount?
No. See, the point is that when anybody is investing money in equity,
yes, sir,
whether it is promoters or it is investors or it is angel financiers or it is venture capitalists or private equity fund, whatever, if you are a equity holder, you have invested money in equity, then you are the promoter, you are the owner of the company. And
Yes.
it is your responsibility. The profit is your, loss is yours.
Okay, sir.
So as you are running the project, you are the promoter, you have taken money in the company through equity from the angel financier or venture capitalist. They are also the owners. There is no difference between the two. So if you are investing in equity, that is what I started the talk with, that if you are an equity holder, then loss is yours and profit is yours.
Okay,
I
so
invest 1 crore, it can go up to 1000 crores also, and I can lose 1 crore also. But if you are a financial institution and you have given loan,
yes, sir.
then you are not interested in profit and loss of the company. If the company makes profit, you will get interest and principal. If the company does not make profit, you will take coercive action against the company. You will take action as per the provided by law. But the equity holders cannot do that. So equity holders have, see, there is a basic concept in financial management: high return, high risk; low return, low risk. If you increase your return expectation, the risk also will go up. And if you are interested in low risk and low profit, low return, that you can choose. Suppose you are investing in RBI bonds, the risk is zero, because RBI bonds will get matured and interest payment you will get, and there is no risk involved. Zero risk. But the interest is lesser, you will get say 5%. If you go to a bank or bank, you will get 6%, but the risk is higher. If you go to a private company, you may get a return of say 10% in the interest when you are investing in fixed deposit, but your risk is still higher. So when you are investing in equity, suppose you start a project, and you are an entrepreneur, you put your money, your father puts in money, it's a 100% risky project. The risk can be manifold and the return also can be manifold. So they cannot take back money from you, because they are also promoters. You are also a promoter, they are also promoters. So angel financier or equity holders or anybody will also have a understanding with you when you take money from them on equity, as to what will be the board formation, as to who will represent in the board and who will do what administrative financial controls the angel financier will have, and what financial and administrative control the entrepreneur will have. That understanding has to be understood, and as to what will be the legal course, because suppose there is a dispute, then ultimately it will go to court of law. So court of law will decide things on the basis of the written documents and the understanding and the contracts that have been made. Right?
Yes, sir. Got the point.
Yeah. Anybody else? And see, the talk will be more interesting if you ask questions. Whatever you want to understand. Whatever bothers you, whatever you don't understand when you read newspapers, when you see financial channels, you feel that there has to be somebody who can explain you these things about finance, about financial management, about these things which bothers you, you can ask those questions. Yes.
So it isn't a question, but I'm asking for a suggestion from your side. So I want to start a venture in biofuels.
Fine.
And I have talked to people in biofuels. What I require is first the feedstock supply, second distillation plant for its process, and third we distribute in the market.
Fine.
So as per my plan, I want to reduce the plant setup by talking to known people who are already in this field.
Fine.
So what should I do according to? Shall I go after the banks, or should I go after the?
See, first of all, one, you have to understand that whatever project you are talking about, you are totally convinced about it. You will get the raw material. You will get the sufficient raw material. What will be the project cost? because you will have to take a land, you will have to take building, you will have to have plant and machinery, there will be running expenditures, salary and wages will be there, processing will be there, and product will go to the market. So you have to understand the total and who are your competitors. Last time, I don't know whether I was talking the same set of students. I talked about the Porter's model. Did I talk to you about Porter's model?
Yes, sir, I guess you spoke to us last time.
So the basic point is that you have to understand that whatever project, because you are replacing somebody. When you are making an alternative fuel, you are creating an alternative. There is already something which in the market, and you have to understand as to how and why people will be buying your product. Because see, any project, it should not only be profitable to you, it should also be profitable to the buyers and sellers. And what will be the intricacies and how difficult will it be to collect and the raw material? I give you an example of, say, rice bran. There are solvent extraction plants जो कि राइस ब्रान को लेते हैं और उससे ऑयल निकालते हैं और उसके बाद उसको रिफाइन करते हैं और हम लोग उसको खाते हैं. अब राइस तो पूरे साल होता नहीं, कुछ समय होता है. अब वही खरीद पाएगा जिसके पास बहुत ज्यादा पैसा है, जिसके पास स्टोरेज स्पेस है. क्योंकि जैसे जैसे राइस ब्रान रखा जाएगा उसका फ्री फैटी एसिड्स बढ़ता जाएगा और उसके बाद उसको रिफाइनिंग में ज्यादा कॉस्ट आएगी और ज्यादा खर्चे आएंगे, तो जिसके पास ज्यादा ताकत है वो उसको खरीद पाएगा. सो आपको पूरा कैश फ्लो बनाना है. आपको ये नहीं देखना है कि आज आप प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट कर लें और कल पता चले कि साहब आपने ये चीज तो सोची नहीं थी और ये प्रोजेक्ट फेल हो गया. आपको हर चीज सोचनी पड़ेगी, आपको सारी इवेंचुअलिटी सोचनी पड़ेगी, आज सारे फ्यूचर इवेंट्स को एंटिसिपेट करना होगा. जैसे मैंने कहा था, द थ्रेट ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूट प्रोडक्ट्स एंड थ्रेट ऑफ न्यू एंट्रेंट्स. अब बिजनेस मॉडल चेंज हो रहे हैं. अब अमेजन है, क्या बिजनेस मॉडल है? जियो मार्ट है, क्या बिजनेस मॉडल है? अब 80% चीजें जो हैं एप्स के थ्रू होने लगी हैं. तो उन्होंने, आप पेटीएम है, क्या है? तो बेसिकली यू आर ओनली, एंड बिकॉज ये जो एप्स हैं, अब आप हैं मान लीजिए एक बायर और एक बायर है मान लीजिए बिग बाजार. बिग बाजार एक महीने में 1 लाख टूथपेस्ट खरीदता है, आप 1000 टूथपेस्ट खरीदते हैं. तो जब वो 1 लाख टूथपेस्ट खरीदता है तो वो बार्गेन कर सकता है टूथपेस्ट सप्लायर से कि मुझे 5% का डिस्काउंट दो. आपको नहीं देगा, उसको दे देगा. तो अगर उसको 5% का डिस्काउंट मिल गया तो वो मार्केट में सस्ता बेच पाएगा, तो आप मार्केट से बाहर हो जाओगे. भाई आज की तारीख में अगर मान लीजिए धीरूभाई, मुकेश अंबानी सोचें कि मैं जाके कश्मीर के सारे सेब खरीद लूं और कश्मीर में जाके कहें कि जिसके पास भी जो सेब है सब मुझे दे दो, कोई चिंता नहीं, कैश पेमेंट लो और 20 रुपए किलो में मुझे सेब दे दो. क्योंकि आप जाएंगे एक ट्रक सेब खरीदने तो आपको 50 रुपए का मिलेगा, उनको 20 रुपए का मिलेगा, बिकॉज कैश पेमेंट कर रहे हैं और पूरा का पूरा थोक में खरीद रहे हैं. और उसके बाद मोनोपोली उनकी हो जाएगी, जिस दाम पे चाहेंगे बेचेंगे, क्योंकि उनके पास फूड प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट्स भी होंगी, क्योंकि उनके पास कोल्ड स्टोरेजेस भी होंगे जो आपके पास नहीं होंगे. आपका 30% माल सड़ जाएगा तो आप 50 रुपए में खरीदेंगे, और क्योंकि माल सड़ जाएगा तो आप 100 से नीचे आप नहीं बेच पाएंगे, लेकिन वो 20 का खरीद के 40 में बेच देगा. तो आपको ये देखना है कि जिसको आप रिप्लेस कर रहे हैं. इसीलिए मैंने कहा था बार्गेनिंग पावर ऑफ बायर एंड बार्गेनिंग पावर ऑफ सेलर, थ्रेट ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूट प्रोडक्ट्स एंड थ्रेट ऑफ न्यू एंट्रेंट्स, सबका आपको सोचना है. बिना सोचे समझे आप प्रोजेक्ट चालू नहीं कर सकते. आप और आपको फाइनेंस ही नहीं करेगा कोई. आपको बिजनेस इंक्यूबेशन वाले आपको जगह नहीं देंगे, आपको जो एंजल फाइनेंसर हैं वो इक्विटी में पैसा नहीं देंगे, आपको फाइनेंशियल. सो ये प्रश्न नहीं है कि आप किसके पास जाएं. प्रश्न ये है कि आपका प्रोजेक्ट वायबल होना चाहिए. अगर आपका प्रोजेक्ट वायबल है, प्रोजेक्ट बहुत अच्छा है, कोई ऐसा आइडिया है जो कि दूसरा रिप्लेस नहीं कर सकता. जैसे मैंने लास्ट टाइम एक बात कही थी, एनी प्रोजेक्ट यू हैव टू हैव ए एज, क्योंकि अगर मैं कोई काम करना चाहता हूं जो सब कर सकते हैं, तो मुझसे जब फाइनेंशियली ताकतवर आदमी उस प्रोजेक्ट को चालू करेगा, मुझे मार्केट से बाहर कर देगा। लेकिन अगर मेरे अंदर कोई कला है, अगर मेरे अंदर कोई आर्ट है, अगर मेरे अंदर कोई टेक्निकल नो हाउ है, अगर मैं सचिन तेंदुलकर हूं, तो मुझे कोई रिप्लेस नहीं कर सकता। मैं गाना गाता हूं, बहुत अच्छा गाना गाता हूं, मुझे कोई रिप्लेस नहीं कर सकता। तो बेसिक पॉइंट है कि आपको एक कोर कॉम्पिटेंस डेवलप करनी पड़ेगी। आपकी कॉम्पिटेंस ऐसी होनी चाहिए उस प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में, कोई आपके पास ऐसा ब्रह्मास्त्र होना चाहिए कि लोग आपको रिप्लेस ना कर पाए, आप छाए रहे मार्केट में, और अगर दूसरा एक चाल चले, आप दो चाल चल के उससे आगे हो जाएं। आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट?
Yes, sir.
Any other question?
No, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I have crossed a word while reading principle of owner's equity. Can you explain that?
See,
What is it?
that is what I said. Suppose you start a project of 1 lakh. Your father gives you 1 lakh. You form a company. This is your promoter's equity. This is the enterprise, जो एंटरप्रेन्योर है उसकी इक्विटी है 1 लाख। प्रोजेक्ट 1 करोड़ का हुआ, 40 लाख इक्विटी आपको चाहिए, 60 लाख का लोन चाहिए। 40 लाख की इक्विटी आपके पास नहीं है, आप अपने फ्रेंड्स एंड रिलेटिव से जाते हैं। ये इक्विटी हो गई जिसमें आपने थोड़ा सा इसको फैलाया, इक्विटी लोगों में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट की। उसके बाद आपने कहा कि नहीं, अब मुझे 100 करोड़ का प्रोजेक्ट चाहिए, इसमें मुझे 20 करोड़ किसी एंजल फाइनेंसर और वेंचर कैपिटलिस्ट से चाहिए। आप एंजल फाइनेंसर वेंचर कैपिटलिस्ट के पास जाएंगे, अगर उनको लगेगा कि ये इतना बढ़िया इशू है जो बाद में 1 रुपए का 100 रुपए कर देगा, वो आपको दे देगा। उसके बाद कहते हैं नहीं, मुझे तो 1 लाख करोड़ का प्रोजेक्ट चाहिए, मुझे 40,000 करोड़ जो है इक्विटी में रेस करना है, तो आपको पब्लिक इशू में जाना पड़ेगा, आपको लिस्टेड कंपनी बनानी पड़ेगी, आपको स्टॉक एक्सचेंजेस में जाना पड़ेगा, आपको सेबी से परमिशन लेनी पड़ेगी। और उसके बाद जब प्रोजेक्ट लग जाएगा और उसमें जो कैश फ्लोज होंगे और शेयर लिस्ट होंगे, अगर शेयर बहुत अच्छे चलेंगे, कंपनी बहुत अच्छी चलेगी, तो जितने लोगों ने भी इक्विटी में पैसा लगाया है वो करोड़पति हो जाएंगे। अगर प्रोजेक्ट अच्छा नहीं चलेगा तो सबका पैसा डूब जाएगा। ठीक है?
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you, sir.
ओके। यस, any other question? Ask questions. Sorry.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Well, suppose if we have idea and we have sorted everything about it, and
Yeah.
my question is, how should we formulate our idea in order to present it before any investor, and how should we approach them?
Come again, because there was something wrong in my computer, so I could not listen to your question properly. Come again.
So, sir, we have formulated any idea and we have like planned everything on how to proceed with it. But in order to present this idea, how should we approach an investor? How to formulate that idea?
See, that is what I said, that you have to have a techno-economic feasibility report. You have to make a business plan.
Okay.
And business plan, you have to tell about yourself. You will have to talk about your expertise. You have to talk about the project that you are envisaging, as to how much you know about that project and your confidence about that project, and whether you have all the idea about the marketing and technical feasibility on HR and everything, so that when this complete project report, a project report or the business plan is a document where all potential probable questions of the equity investors or lenders are taken care of.
Okay.
So when you have formulated a business plan, or you have made a techno-economic feasibility report, and the project is good, and the business plan takes care of all the questions that could come, then they will have a meeting with you. They will see your business plan. They will be asking questions. They will try to understand whether you are confident, whether you have conducted the field study or not, and whether you are your business idea is workable. And if they feel that the business idea is workable, they will lend you money, or they will put money in the equity.
Okay, sir, is there any specific way to find investors?
See, point is that is what I am saying. That you are studying in MIT University today, and MIT University has a business incubation center. All students should visit business incubation center and understand. They will tell you about your business plan as to how to make a business plan. They will give you a sample business plan also. They will also give you, and they hold talks every month of 15 days where the guests are invited and the bankers also come, equity investors also, their angel financiers also come. So listen to them and ask questions from them and try to understand as to if they have, because they are also looking for you. You are looking for them and they are also looking for you. But there has to be a place where, your question is very right, that you have to have a place where the meeting can take place. So business incubation center is the place where this thing can happen. So go to business incubation center, talk to the managers there, and there are technical experts also, legal experts also, financial experts also. They will tell you, and they will hold sessions also for you. And then when they invite angel financiers or bankers or the lenders, the project, you go to them, and if they find your project viable and good enough, they will finance you by equity or by debt, whatever.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Yes. Any other question? Yes.
Yes, sir, suppose we have went to a venture or venture capitalist or angel investor. So what are the specific points they would look upon? Like we have to propose these ideas like according to that view to keep that point of view in our mind. So
Suppose I give you example. आज के तारीख में कोविड बहुत बड़ी समस्या है. कोविड की वजह से पूरी वर्ल्ड की जो इकोनॉमी है वो खराब हो रखी है और मेडिकल सिस्टम ध्वस्त हो गया है और बड़ी परेशानियां हैं. मान लीजिए, मैं ऐसे ही एग्जांपल दे रहा हूं, आप एक ऐसा मिक्सचर बनाएं. मान लीजिए आप कहेंगे सरसों के तेल में हम तिल का तेल डालेंगे, उसमें जौ डालेंगे, व्हाटएवर. और जो लोग आईसीयू में हैं, ये 2 बूंद उनकी नाक में डाल देंगे और कोविड ठीक हो जाएगा. मान लीजिए. और जो एंजल इन्वेस्टर है, वेंचर कैपिटलिस्ट है, वो कहे यार ये 100 केसेस में यूज करो और देखते हैं यार ये तो 15 मिनट के अंदर, आधे घंटे के अंदर कोविड खत्म हो गया. अरे यू विल बिकम ए बिलियनर. आप कहें पॉल्यूशन खत्म कर देंगे. मैंने ऐसा केमिकल बनाया है, मैंने ऐसी चीज बनाई है कि अगर उस केमिकल का छिड़काव कर दिया जाए तो जो हिंदुस्तान के अंदर पॉल्यूशन लेवल भीषण स्तर पे है वो 0 लेवल पे, वो 50 के लेवल पे आ जाएगा, जो स्विट्जरलैंड और नीदरलैंड्स में है. आप बना लें अगर ऐसा केमिकल, या आप ऐसा केमिकल बना लें कि जितनी प्लास्टिक है जो कहते हैं कि साहब खत्म नहीं होती और नष्ट नहीं होती और 50 साल 100 साल तक रहती है, आप ऐसा केमिकल बना लें कि सारी प्लास्टिक जो है खत्म हो जाए, नष्ट हो जाए. जो एंजल फाइनेंसर और कोई भी फाइनेंसर आपको करोड़ों के 1000, 2000, 50,000 करोड़ देने के लिए तैयार हो जाएगा. So the point is that you have to have something. If you are interested in getting equity from the angel financier or equity holders or venture capitalist or business incubation or say Mukesh Ambani or say Narayan Murthy or anybody, they will give you money. They don't have any problem. Money, they have so much of money with them. But you have to convince them that what you are talking about is unique. So like Paytm has so much of foreign investment. So many companies are having foreign direct investment and foreigners are putting a lot of money. So Indian companies, private equity fund and venture capitalists are putting billions of dollars and the projects are still not economically viable. But they are putting money because they know that today they are not viable, that after 5-10 years they will become so viable that everything which is existing will be replaced by these apps and projects. So anything which you are putting up to the lenders or finance, if you are a very ordinary project, you are doing something like you are opening a restaurant or something, no angel furniture venture capitalist will give you money. Or there is an idea, there is like suppose McDonald's, or you are having a technical collaboration from somewhere where the demand is very high and the supply is not there, and you are having a collaboration with them and you start a project, equity will come. But they will say whether there is a threat from the substitute products also, or whether there is a threat from the new entrants. And if they feel that the project will be able to survive, and you are so aware and knowledgeable about the project that you will be able to support this project for coming times to come, they will give you money, other they will not. So whatever document you are preparing, whatever business plan you are making, whatever technical economic feasibility you are making, has to be sufficient enough and good enough. So if you are suppose coming to me, sir, this is my project and you please put in 5 lakhs. So even if it is my son who is coming and asking for 5 lakhs rupees, I will not give unless and until I am convinced that this 5 lakhs will become 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs. I am not right now, when I am evaluating a project, when I am talking about the financial projections of the project, I am not looking at the relationship of a student and teacher or father and son. I am only interested whether the project is technically feasible, economically viable, and the project will be able to generate so much of cash in future that he will also earn money, I will also earn money. Because suppose I don't earn money and his project fails, that his money and his confidence level also will go up. So I will not support that project. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Please, if anyone have questions, please interact. No questions?
See, I can keep talking on different subjects and topics. The point is that because every student of a particular discipline has a different aptitude and different level. So it is better that whenever you call me next, you ask students to prepare a list of questions as to what they will try to understand and know. So that it's a two-way communication. It's not a monologue.
Yes, sir.
Teachers also can ask questions.
Students, please. You can interact. Where is Shivam today? Shivam, Anishka, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
चलिए एक चीज और बता देता हूं जो इकोनॉमिक्स से रिलेटेड है. हर चीज के प्राइस, हर चीज के सेलिंग प्राइस डिमांड और सप्लाई पे डिपेंडेंट होते हैं. अगर किसी चीज की डिमांड ज्यादा होगी और सप्लाई नहीं होगी तो उसके दाम बढ़ेंगे. अगर किसी चीज की डिमांड नहीं होगी और सप्लाई बढ़ेगी तो प्राइसेस गिरेंगे. होता क्या है? आप एग्जांपल लीजिए क्रूड के प्राइसेस, ऑयल प्राइसेस. इंटरनेशनल क्रूड प्राइसेस 2013 में $115 पर बैरल थे. 6 महीने पहले घट के $20 पे आ गए थे. आज $60 पे आ गए. तो दाम में इतना वेरिएशन क्यों है? सोना देखिए आप, चांदी देखिए. सोना जो था आज से 2 साल 2.5 साल पहले 27-28 हजार का था, फिर बढ़ के 56,000 तक पहुंच गया था. आज 47-48 पे है। सिल्वर भी ऐसे ही 40,000 पे आ गया था, 70-72 पे है। ये दाम घटते बढ़ते रहते हैं। क्यों बढ़ते घटते हैं? इसको समझने का प्रयास कीजिए, क्योंकि यह आपकी एंटरप्राइज में इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करेगा। जब डिमांड बढ़ती है, जब प्राइस बढ़ते हैं, जब प्राइस बढ़ते हैं तो डिमांड कम होती है। प्राइस बढ़े, डिमांड कम हो गई, और प्राइस बढ़े तो सप्लायर्स ने क्या कोशिश की? सप्लाई बढ़ाने की। आज ओपेक कंट्रीज ने, आज ऑयल प्रोड्यूसिंग कंट्रीज ने ऑयल के प्राइसेस में प्रोडक्शन कट क्यों लगाया? प्रोडक्शन कट इसलिए लगाया कि उन्होंने कहा यार $20 पे अगर ये प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट आ गई है, प्राइस आ गया है, और हमारी प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट जो है $25 की है, तो अगर हम प्रोड्यूस करेंगे तो इसको बेचेंगे, फायदा क्या है? हमें तो नुकसान है। इससे अच्छा प्रोडक्शन कट कर दो। जब सप्लाई कम हो जाएगी तो डिमांड बढ़ेगी, क्योंकि प्राइस होंगे तो प्राइसेस जो है स्टेबलाइज हो जाएंगे। प्राइसेस स्टेबलाइज हो गए। आपने सुना ही होगा, आप लोग एग्रीकल्चर के स्टूडेंट्स हैं, किसान जो है आलू अपना फेंक देता है, खेत से नहीं उखाड़ता, गन्ना जला देता है, सब्जी फेंक देता है। वो इसलिए फेंक देता है कि यार इस सब्जी को, इस गन्ने को, इसको, आलू को अगर मैं खेत से निकलवाऊंगा तो मेरा 5 रुपए कॉस्ट आएगी, और बाजार में ले जाने में 5 रुपए कॉस्ट आएगी, और दाम मिलेंगे 8 रुपए। इससे अच्छा है इसको खेत में पड़ा रहने दो और इससे खाद बनने दो। तो जब प्राइस बढ़ेंगे तो डिमांड कम होगी और सप्लाई बढ़ेगी। तो डिमांड कम होगी और सप्लाई बढ़ेगी, क्या होगा? दाम नीचे आने शुरू हो जाएंगे। और जब दाम नीचे आ जाएंगे तो सप्लायर्स को फायदा नहीं होगा, वो सप्लाई कम कर देंगे, लेकिन दाम नीचे आ जाएंगे तो डिमांड बढ़नी शुरू हो जाएगी। तो हर चीज फॉलो ए साइन कर्व। ये उतार चढ़ाव चलते रहेंगे, ये साइन कर्व चलते रहेंगे। तो आपको जब अपने प्रोजेक्ट लगा रहे हैं तो आपको यह भी सोचना पड़ेगा कि फ्यूचर ईयर्स में आज जो प्राइस है, जरूरी नहीं कि 2 साल के बाद भी यही प्राइस हो, क्योंकि उसमें नए एंट्रेंट्स भी आएंगे, उसमें सब्स्टिट्यूट प्रोडक्ट्स भी आएंगे, उसमें कॉम्पिटिटर्स भी आएंगे, वो भी अपना कैपेसिटी का एक्सपेंशन करेंगे, वो भी अपने प्रोजेक्ट साइज को बड़ा करेंगे। तो आपको केवल डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग नहीं करनी है, आपको डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग के साथ साथ सप्लाई फोरकास्टिंग भी करनी है। क्योंकि होता क्या है, नॉर्मली क्या होता है कि आपको लगा कि यार ये चीज बड़ी फायदेमंद है, क्योंकि देखो बड़ा पैसा कमा रहा है वो। अरे वो पैसा इसलिए कमा रहा है कि सप्लाई कम है। आप 100 लोग और आके आपने वो इंडस्ट्री लगा दी, अब वो सप्लाई बढ़ गई, डिमांड उसके हिसाब से बढ़ी नहीं, दाम गिरने शुरू हो जाएंगे और आपको नुकसान हो जाएगा। तो आपको केवल डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग नहीं करनी है, आपको डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग के साथ साथ सप्लाई फोरकास्टिंग भी करनी है। और आपको ये देखना है कि फ्यूचर ईयर्स में डिमांड सप्लाई गैप वाइडन अगर होता है, बड़ा अगर होता है, तो आपका प्रोजेक्ट ज्यादा वायबल होगा। मान लीजिए जैसे आपने ऑर्गेनिक खेती की बात की, अगर कंज्यूमर में ये कॉन्फिडेंस आ जाए कि ये जो ऑर्गेनिक कह रहे हैं सही में ऑर्गेनिक है और ऑर्गेनिक से उनको लाभ होंगे। जैसे आज अगर आप शुद्ध दूध दें, आज हम लोग मदर डेयरी का या अमूल का दूध खरीदते हैं, मान लीजिए 50-60 रुपए का खरीदते हैं, दूधिये से खरीदते हैं, ये नहीं पता रहता कि इसमें पानी है, नाले का पानी है, सही पानी है, साफ पानी है कि नहीं पानी है। अगर आप ये विश्वास क्रिएट कर दें कि नहीं भाई, जो हमने गाय भैंस पाली हुई है, इसको कोई इंजेक्शन नहीं दिया है, इसको कोई केमिकल नहीं देते, इसको हम बादाम काजू खिलाते हैं और शुद्ध दूध है और बिल्कुल फर्स्ट क्लास दूध है, और हम 125 रुपए लेंगे, आपको लाखों लोग मिल जाएंगे जो 125 रुपए देने के लिए तैयार हो जाएंगे। लेकिन उनको कॉन्फिडेंस चाहिए कि जो आप कह रहे हैं कि शुद्ध है वो शुद्ध है, क्योंकि ये कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डिंग इज डन थ्रू ब्रांडिंग, बाय बिजनेस प्रमोशन, बाय एडवर्टीजमेंट, एंड दैट इज व्हाट इनडायरेक्टली कम्स टू योर माइंड व्हेन यू सी क्यों करोड़ों अरबों रुपए पैसा लोग खर्च कर रहे हैं टेलीविजन पे। वो इसलिए पैसा खर्च कर रहे हैं कि आपके बिना जाने हुए आपके दिमाग में एक भ्रांति घुस जाए, आपको पता चल जाए कि हिंदुस्तान लीवर मींस गुड, आईटीसी मींस गुड, हल्दीराम मींस गुड। और क्योंकि आप ये नहीं कर सकते, इसलिए आपकी चीज जो आप 10 रुपए में बेच रहे हैं, लोग जाके हिंदुस्तान लीवर और आईटीसी का और हल्दीराम में जाके 50 रुपए का खा रहे हैं। इनपुट कॉस्ट में बहुत ज्यादा अंतर नहीं है। आप ठेले में खाना खाएं, आप जाके 5 स्टार होटल में खाना खाएं, अरे इनपुट कॉस्ट में क्या अंतर होगा? बहुत ज्यादा अंतर नहीं होगा। जो आप 50 रुपए की थाली खा रहे हैं, हो सकता है उसकी इनपुट कॉस्ट जो है रॉ मटेरियल कॉस्ट 20 रुपए हो, और जो 5 स्टार में खा रहे हैं उसकी हो सकता है 100 रुपए की हो या 200 रुपए की हो, लेकिन 200 रुपए की इनपुट कॉस्ट में वो 5000 की थाली बेच रहा है और ये 100 रुपए की बेच रहा है, क्योंकि ये ब्रांडिंग है। एक एडवर्टीजमेंट के माध्यम से उन्होंने कंज्यूमर को ये कन्विंस कर दिया है कि हमारे यहाँ अशुद्धता का तो कोई मतलब ही नहीं है, हमारे यहाँ एवरीथिंग इज सो गुड एंड एम्बियंस है, क्योंकि आप जाते हैं तो आपको एक बढ़िया एम्बियंस मिलता है, आपको लगता है हमारे जैसे लोग हैं। तो एस्पिरेशंस को जागृत करना एडवर्टीजमेंट का उद्देश्य है। एस्पिरेशंस, कंज्यूमर की एस्पिरेशंस, आप जो देखना चाहते हैं अपने को। आप अमिताभ बच्चन और शाहरुख खान क्यों एडवर्टीजमेंट में आते हैं? क्योंकि आप उनको आइडलाइज करते हैं। आप करते हैं यार ये कर रहे हैं, बार में आपको लग रहा है कि नहीं नहीं यार चीज अच्छी होगी, तभी तो अमिताभ बच्चन कह रहे हैं। आपको नहीं पता अमिताभ बच्चन इसलिए नहीं कह रहे हैं, कह इसलिए रहे हैं कि उनको करोड़ों रुपए एडवर्टीजमेंट के लिए मिला है, लेकिन आपके दिमाग में ये चीज बैठ जाती है। तो ये जो ब्रांडिंग है, ब्रांडिंग means lot of cost that is involved, and this cannot be done by a small person like us. It has to be done something by Hindustan Lever, ITC और धीरूभाई अंबानी और मुकेश अंबानी। तो उनके पास वो एक ऐसा एज है कि छोटा बिग बाजार बिक गया, रिलायंस ने खरीद लिया। जब बिग बाजार कोई छोटा मोटा आदमी नहीं था, आज से 10 साल पहले अगर हम लोग रिटेलिंग की बात करते थे तो बिग बाजार वाज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट प्लेयर्स, बट टुडे दे हैव हैड टू सेल टू मुकेश अंबानी बिकॉज दे कुड नॉट कम्पीट विद मुकेश अंबानी। तो अगर आप प्रोजेक्ट लगाना चाहते हैं तो आपको देखना पड़ेगा ना भाई कि आपकी जो कैपेबिलिटी है। लेकिन अब आप एग्जाम्पल लीजिए, घड़ी डिटर्जेंट। घड़ी डिटर्जेंट ने हिंदुस्तान लीवर को बड़ी टक्कर दी, खूब बड़ा मार्केट शेयर छीन लिया। कैसे छीन लिया? हिंदुस्तान लीवर तो बहुत बड़ी कंपनी है, उसकी ब्रांडिंग है, उसका एडवर्टीजमेंट है, लेकिन हिंदुस्तान लीवर का जो एम्प्लॉय है वो 2 लाख रुपए महीने कमाता है, घड़ी का एम्प्लॉय जो है 20,000 रुपए कमाता है। यार मेरे को ये मार्केट सेगमेंट जो हिंदुस्तान लीवर आईटीसी का माल खरीदता है, इसको अप्रोच करना ही नहीं। मुझे वो अप्रोच करना है जो कि दाम देखता है, गरीब आदमी जो पैसा बचाता है। तो हिंदुस्तान लीवर ऊपर के लोगों को ले जाए, नीचे के लोगों को मैं ले जाता हूं। ये घड़ी ने किया, यही आपके पतंजलि में। पतंजलि में क्या है? यहां तो बाकी जो ब्रांड्स हैं, हिंदुस्तान लीवर है, डाबर है, ये तो एडवर्टीजमेंट्स करते हैं करोड़ों। वहां केवल स्वामी रामदेव ही खुद एडवर्टीजमेंट कर लेते हैं, जिनकी कंपनी, तो उनको तो कोई कॉस्ट इनकर नहीं होती। तो एक कंपनी जो है 200 करोड़ का ब्रांडिंग करती है और एक कंपनी जो है वो रामदेवी उसकी ब्रांडिंग कर देते हैं। 200 करोड़ बचे ना, तो वो तो पास ऑन कर सकते हैं कस्टमर, तो कस्टमर को कम दाम पे चीज बेच सकते हैं, इसलिए उनका माल बिक जाएगा। सो यू हैव टू लुक इनटू ऑल द एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट। जो भी आपसे प्रश्न पूछे, आपका इक्विटी होल्डर पूछे, आपका लेंडर पूछे, आपका स्टेक होल्डर पूछे, कोई पूछे, जो प्रश्न पूछे वो जेन्युइन है, उसका कन्विंस आपको करना पड़ेगा, उसको जवाब आपको देना पड़ेगा और उसको ये बताना पड़ेगा कि जो आपका प्रोजेक्ट है वेल थॉट ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट है, टेक्निकली और इकोनॉमिकली फीजिबल है, वायबल है, और इस प्रोजेक्ट में अगर वो पैसा बनाएंगे, लगाएंगे तो बनाएंगे। यस
सर, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, news we see many times that companies like Zomato, Flipkart, they suffer huge losses, but still somehow they manage to survive and they are doing pretty well. At least they're popular in market, and we are still using these their services.
That is what I said, that like these projects are still because the private equity fund and angel financiers have given them so much of equity. They have given them so much of angel financing fund or private equity, so much of money has been given because these equity holders, the angel financier, venture capitalists know that these projects will not be viable in next 5 years or 10 years. But because the total market today, you see, after 10 years back and 5 years back and today and after 5 years, you will see everything will be dependent on apps. You young generation, everybody is buying things through apps. You don't want to go to market, you don't want to go there, and things are coming to your home. So Zomato or Swiggy, or because people have now because they feel that if I go to say a place and spend money on petrol or spend money on this thing, and I don't have the comfort of my home, and because COVID has promoted this thing also, so it is better to call for food from Zomato or Swiggy and save money also and get the same quality of food, and this is also beneficial to the restaurant owners because they don't have to buy space to cater to the clients, and they only have to have a kitchen they only can supply, and a lot of capital cost is saved in that, and there is a direct link between the supplier, and this is what everybody is doing right now. There is a direct shortened link between supplier and buyer. So these equity holders, venture capitalists, and because they have put in so much of money, billions of dollars, and then suppose I give you an example, suppose I'm an angel financer and I have 10 crores rupees. I put 1 crore each in 10 projects. 9 projects fail. One project where I had put in 1 crore becomes a very good project, becomes Infosys or Reliance Industry, and the share prices go up to 100 crores. My 1 crore will become 100 crores. I will deduct 9 crores from there. Still, I will be making 91 crores. So when you are investing in equity, you are taking a risk, you are taking a chance. But when you are investing in equity, you are taking risk also, higher risk also, but the return expectation also is very high. Yes.
So, sir, how do they manage to make profit?
Who?
The companies like Zomato, Swiggy. They get high investment. They get high investment, but how would they make profit?
Fine, but it's only an app. They don't have to spend anything, or Ola or Uber or whatever. See, their capital cost is not very high. The only thing they are doing is they are connecting the taxi drivers to the customer. Now, earlier, suppose you had a taxi and you do not know whether you will get an order or not. One day you will get 100 orders, you will not be able to supply, you will not be able to service them. For 15 days, you won't get any order. So your taxi is standing without any profit. But today, if the Ola and Uber is connecting the customer, there is an app and you want to go to railway station or airport, and you don't call a taxi, because if you call a taxi, you will pay 1,000 rupees. If you call a Ola, Uber, you will pay 500 rupees. The taxi also is good. So taxi driver also is benefited. You as a customer also benefited, and Ola, Uber only getting commission. Because you don't have to do anything. Paytm, what they are doing? You are making payment, credit card. So if they are getting, say, 2.5% commission from the shop owners, and they are passing on, say, 0.5% to the customer, and they have a 1% administrative cost, still they are making 1%. So because the market is changing, the buyer behavior is changing, the buyer's preference is changing, the habits of the young generation are different from the old generation, and the future generation will still be different. So any project, Swiggy, anybody, Amazon and whatever, if they can foresee as to what will be the future expectation and buyer behavior of the customer, and they make an app according to that, they will make money.
Okay.
Sir, according to you, what are the possible future markets जो अभी बहुत ज़्यादा rise करेंगे? According to what you believe?
बेटा, अगर मुझे ये पता होता तो मैं आज करोड़पति होता.
सर कोई मतलब गैस या हंच अगर?
अरे ऐसे नहीं हो सकता भाई. देखो, ऐसा है, अचरेकर जो थे, जिन्होंने सचिन तेंदुलकर को अच्छा क्रिकेटर बनाया, अचरेकर तेंदुलकर बन पाए क्या? आप देखें, बहुत सारे बिजनेसमैन ऐसे हैं जो करोड़ों कमाते हैं, अरबों कमाते हैं, बहुत बढ़िया प्रोजेक्ट लगाते हैं, जो पढ़े लिखे नहीं हैं. धीरूभाई अंबानी बहुत ज्यादा पढ़े लिखे नहीं थे. मुकेश और अनिल अंबानी तो तब भी पढ़े लिखे हैं बहुत ज्यादा. तो पढ़ाई लिखाई का और ज्ञान का और पैसे कमाने का आपस में कोई बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग कोरिलेशन नहीं है. तो अगर आपके अंदर वो क्षमता है, तो वी कैन टीच, वी कैन टेल यू एज टू हाउ टू गो अबाउट इट, वी कैन, आपकी जो जिज्ञासा है और आपकी जो करने की इच्छा है उसको हम जगा सकते हैं। लेकिन अगर हमें पता होता, मान लीजिए मुझे आज पता होता कि टीसीएस बहुत बढ़िया करेगी और आईटी कंपनीज बहुत बढ़िया करेंगी, मैं सारा पैसा आईटी कंपनीज में लगा देता और पैसा कमा लेता, क्योंकि फ्यूचर इज अनसर्टेन। यू डू नॉट नो एज टू व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन इन फ्यूचर। हैबिट चेंज हो रही हैं, फटी पैंट पहनते हैं जीन्स, जैसे अभी उत्तराखंड के चीफ मिनिस्टर ने कहा। अब आप लोग भी पहनते होंगे, बच्चे जो हैं, है आपको अच्छी लगती है, हमको नहीं अच्छी लगती। अब आप कहें, मैं ये कहूंगी नहीं मैं ठीक कह रहा हूं, आप गलत कह रहे हैं, आप कहें नहीं साहब ये क्या बात हुई, हमारी तो अपनी स्वतंत्रता है। अरे यार, आपकी जनरेशन, हमारी जनरेशन और फ्यूचर जनरेशन, आप अपने पेरेंट्स को कहते हैं आउटडेटेड है, और 20 साल के बाद आपके बच्चे आपसे कहेंगे आप आउटडेटेड हैं। ये परंपरा है, ये प्रक्रिया है, ये चलेगी। लोगों की हैबिट्स चेंज होंगी, लोगों के चीजें चेंज होंगी, आवश्यकताएं चेंज होंगी, एनवायरमेंटल जो एक्सपेक्टेशंस हैं वो चेंज होंगी। हम लोग खाना खाते थे तो हमको दाल सब्जी रोटी अच्छी लगती थी, बचपन से वही खाया हमने। आप लोगों को पिज्जा अच्छा लगता है, आपको नूडल्स अच्छे लगते हैं। हो सकता है आपकी नेक्स्ट जनरेशन का ये क्या मूर्खता की चीज है ये पिज्जा विज्जा, ये तो कोई नई चीज वो ले आएंगे, उसको खाना शुरू कर देंगे। तो जनरेशनल चेंज, आप अपने ग्रैंडफादर को देखिए, अपने फादर को देखिए, अपने को देखिए, तो सब कुछ बदल रहा है। कपड़े की स्टाइल बदल रही है, रहने का स्टाइल बदल रहा है। न्यूक्लियर फैमिलीज हैं, पहले जॉइंट फैमिलीज हुआ करती थी, बाबा की बात सब माना करते थे, पिताजी को भी वो डांट देते थे, अब कोई किसी को डांट के देखे। सो point is that if you can foresee as to where things are moving and you plan accordingly and your project is able to plan things accordingly which will be able to supply and cater to those future expectations, then you will make money. तो मेरे हिसाब से जो मैं समझता हूं, ये ऐप ओरिएंटेड जो चीजें हैं, अगर ये सप्लायर और बायर को जोड़ सकती हैं, अगर आपको कोई ऐसा ऐप बन जाए, आप ऐसा ऐप बना लें, बहुत ज्यादा कॉस्ट नहीं आएगी। आज बिना वेबसाइट के, बिना फेसबुक को लोग एडवर्टीजमेंट टूल की तरह विदाउट एनी कॉस्ट यूज कर रहे हैं। अब जैसे एक हमने डाउनलोड किया कल, एक ऐप है जो एडवर्टीजमेंट आप देखते होंगे बहुत ज्यादा आता है, Z5, उसे हमने डाउनलोड कर लिया। 350 या 400 रुपए लगे 6 महीने के, रोज एक पिक्चर देख सकते हैं, उसमें सारी चॉइसेस हैं, जो चाहे पिक्चर आप देख लें, ना पिक्चर हॉल जाने की जरूरत है, ना कुछ करने की जरूरत है। सो पॉइंट इज दैट इफ यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड एज टू व्हाट इज द बिहेवियर ऑफ द कस्टमर, और कोविड ने बिल्कुल चीजों को बदल दिया है। अब सोशलाइजिंग बिल्कुल खत्म हो गई है। तो जो सप्लायर हैं, जो होटल वाले हैं, जो रेस्टोरेंट वाले हैं, जो 5 स्टार होटल वाले हैं, उनको अपनी रणनीति भी बदलनी होगी, अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी भी बदलनी होगी। अगर वो स्ट्रैटेजी नहीं बदलेंगे तो मार्केट से बाहर हो जाएंगे। और ये ऐसा नहीं है कि अभी हुआ है, हर 2-3-4 साल के बाद ऐसी चीजें होंगी, चीजें बदलेंगी। तो जो बदलती हुई चीजों के अनुसार अपने को ढालना, उसको एंटिसिपेट करना और अपने को वैसे पोजीशन करना ही तो प्रोजेक्ट की सफलता है।
यस सर।
यस
सर, एक छोटा सा डाउट है सर। जैसे हम देखते हैं कि कहाँ पे मॉल कंस्ट्रक्ट हो रहे हैं, तो वहीं पे हम कुछ दिन बाद या कुछ साल बाद देखते हैं कि और एक मॉल कंस्ट्रक्ट हो रहे हैं। जैसे कोई केमिस्ट शॉप है तो वहीं पे लाइन से बहुत सारी केमिस्ट की शॉप है। तो सर ये ट्रेंड क्यों, मतलब कि
बेटा,
वो
वही
कहीं
मैंने जो बताया था कि जब ये देखते हैं, अब मान लीजिए आपके पास पैसा है, आपको कोई प्रोजेक्ट चालू करना है, आप मार्केट सर्वे करते हैं, आप मार्केट में देखते हैं किसके यहाँ भीड़ है, कौन पैसा कमा रहा है, किसने नई कार खरीदी, किसने नया मकान खरीदा। आप कहते हैं यार ये दवा वाले तो चाहे कोई धंधा चौपट हो जाए, दवा वालों का धंधा नहीं चौपट होगा, या बाल काटने वाले जो ये हैं इनके धंधे नहीं चौपट होंगे। बाल तो कटाएगा ही आदमी, तो आप सैलून खोल लेते हैं और आप दवा की दुकान खोल लेते हैं। लेकिन जब बहुत ज्यादा लोग दवा की दुकान या सैलून खोल लेते हैं तो सप्लाई ज्यादा हो जाती है, फिर प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी नीचे घटनी शुरू हो जाती है। अब कोविड हुआ तो लोगों ने बाल कटाने बंद कर दिए, वो सैलून नहीं जाते, वो घर ही में काट लेते हैं। ये भी चीज हो सकती है, हो जाए। तो wherever people see that there is a profitability, supply increases, जो लोग एग्जिस्टिंग हैं वो अपनी कैपेसिटी को बढ़ा देते हैं। जिनके पास यूनिट नहीं है वो केवल ये देख के कि यार ये देखो ये है बड़ा प्रॉफिटेबल बिजनेस, मॉल में बड़ा प्रॉफिट है, तो मॉल लगा देते हैं वो। लेकिन अगर एक जगह जहां एक मॉल की जरूरत है वहां 4 मॉल लग जाएंगे तो नुकसान तो हो ही जाएगा सबको। लेकिन उस समय आदमी वो सोचता नहीं है। आपको सोचना क्या है कि मैं मॉल वहां खोलूं, वहां पे करूं जहां पे लोगों की आवश्यकता है मॉल की, और मॉल नहीं है। डिमांड कहां है, डिमांड सेंटर्स कहां हैं, सप्लाई सेंटर्स कहां हैं, जो मैंने पोर्टर्स मॉडल का फर्स्ट पॉइंट बताया था। हमें प्रोजेक्ट वहां लगाना है जहां पे डिमांड हो, सप्लाई ना हो। वहां नहीं लगाना है जहां सप्लाई है और डिमांड नहीं है। हम इसलिए नहीं लगाएंगे कनॉट प्लेस में कि कनॉट प्लेस में हमारी शॉप है या हमारी जमीन है। हम तब लगाएंगे और क्या प्रोजेक्ट लगाएंगे, उसमें क्या प्रोडक्ट बेचेंगे और किस लेवल का बेचेंगे, अमीरों के लिए बेचेंगे, मिडिल क्लास के लिए बेचेंगे, गरीबों के लिए बेचेंगे। ये सारी चीजें डिपेंडेंट होंगी कि मार्केट सर्वे और डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग क्या कहती है और किस चीज की वहां पे आवश्यकता है। और जिस चीज की आवश्यकता है वो नहीं शुरू करेंगे, जिस चीज की आवश्यकता है वो शुरू करेंगे।
यस सर। सर फिर भी मतलब लोग खोलते वहीं पे ही, मतलब देखते कि कितना सारा मॉल्स वहीं पे।
बेटा वही मुश्किल है ना, जो मैंने आपसे कहा। मान लीजिए आपके पिताजी के पास 100 करोड़ रुपए पड़े हुए हैं, उनको पता नहीं करना क्या है इसका। वो कहते हैं यार चलो ठीक है यार, आज नहीं चलेगा 10 साल बाद चलेगा, बच्चों के लिए एक मॉल खोल के दे दो। तो बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जिनके पास पैसा है, उनको पता नहीं करें क्या इसका, तो वो सप्लाई क्रिएट कर देते हैं। लेकिन अगर आपके पास लिमिटेड पैसा है, अगर आपके पास इतने अकूत संपत्ति नहीं है, तो आपको पूरी प्लानिंग करके सोच समझ के किस चीज की आवश्यकता है। अब आपको एमिटी के बाहर अगर ढाबा खोलना है, मान लीजिए, कौन सा ढाबा खोलेंगे? साउथ इंडियन खोलेंगे, पंजाबी ढाबा खोलेंगे, नॉर्थ ईस्ट के बच्चों के लिए खोलेंगे, चाइनीज खोलेंगे, क्या खोलेंगे जिसमें लगेगा यार डिमांड है और बच्चों की आवश्यकता है, लेकिन है नहीं।
यस सर।
बेसिकली यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड। सो करने को तो देखो, पैसा फालतू है तो आदमी कुछ भी कर ले, उसे कौन रोक सकता है। बहुत सारे एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन खुले, ग्रेटर नोएडा में खुले, मुरादाबाद में खुले, गाजियाबाद में खुले, मेरठ में खुले। आज स्टूडेंट्स नहीं मिल रहे हैं उनको। इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस बंद हो रहे हैं, एमबीए इंस्टीट्यूट्स बंद हो रहे हैं, क्योंकि वही तो लोगों ने सोच के कि यार बड़ा अच्छा है, बड़ा अच्छा बिजनेस है। अरे यार अच्छा बिजनेस सब नहीं है, कोई खराब बिजनेस नहीं है, कोई अच्छा बिजनेस नहीं है। वो बिजनेस अच्छा है जिसकी डिमांड है और सप्लाई नहीं है, और वो खराब बिजनेस है जिसकी डिमांड नहीं है और सप्लाई है।
यस सर।
यस,
थैंक यू सर।
ओके। यस,
Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
No, sir. They
Okay.
don't have any questions.
Fine, fine. Let us close the session then.
Okay, sir. Okay. So I would like to thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your fascinating and insightful session. This was very informative, extremely informative, and above all, it was really very valuable session. And I must appreciate all your time and support. Thank you for motivating our participants to be a successful entrepreneurs, and especially for those who are really going to start their ventures in future.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Sir, students, can you switch on your cameras? We'll have virtual photograph. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you so much, students. And from tomorrow onwards, we will be having our separate technical sessions. Okay, so organic farming participants, they will join here only, right? And for biofuels, So I think Dr. Anil, he will create means a separate this MS Teams, right, for biofuel student.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Right. So
Yes, ma'am.
Rachit, Hriday, and so they should contact Anil sir. Okay. Your sessions, they will be separated. Now separate technical sessions for 3 weeks they will run.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
And rest of the information I'll update on Telegram. Right?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.